First and foremost, as always, happy Thursday. Hope you're having a great day so far. Thank you for joining me for this month's Accelerate Series webinar. And for this month, for October, very excited as this webinar is introducing our newest feature release, which is Asset Map Priorities. Many of you may or may not have already noticed it within the application, but my goal today is to share with you where you can find it, how you can use it, and share with you some great ways you can start leveraging this incredible feature, which frankly has become quite a crowd favorite, not only amongst us internally, but wow, just advisors, the offices, the firms that I manage and onboard and train. It's just been really exciting to see. And so I hope that priorities will be a game changer for you as well. Now, if this is your first time joining us, feel free to use the chat feature in Zoom for any questions that you have. Everybody's muted. This is a webinar style. So if you have questions, go ahead and add them in the chat. I keep it open and I will make sure that our questions get answered. Now, if we ask questions that are not case specific to what we're talking about, I may ask that we take those offline, or if there's a way for me to tie it all together, I will certainly make sure we get everything answered for you no matter what. Okay? All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce myself for those I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. My name is Leah Jean McHenry. I'm our Senior Manager of Customer Success here at AssetMap. I've had the privilege of being here the last 5.5 years. That being said, I have been working in the fintech industry and space for over a decade. So prior to working here at AssetMap, I used to work for a company called eMoney Advisor, and I was there for almost 5 years, and then I made the move over here. All of this to say, I've trained thousands of financial professionals at this point, and I think I have a pretty good tap on the pulse of what's working for people and what's not. That being said, I'm always anxious to learn and grow more. So any feedback that you ever have, or any specific cases or experiences and things that you have with using AssetMap, don't hesitate to reach out and share those with us, as I would love to hear from you. A good question came into the chat. Is this being recorded? Yes, it is. And the recording will be sent out later today. I will work to get that hopefully sent out before end of day today. If not today, I'm actually out of the office tomorrow, so it would be first thing Monday. But regardless, it is being recorded and we will make sure that you get it. All right. All right, our agenda is pretty short and sweet because, again, we're introducing a brand new topic, a brand new feature, and that is exclusively what we'll be talking about today, which is Asset Map Priorities. All throughout our session today, I'll point out where you can find some additional resources and gain access to our amazing support team. And then, of course, I'll save some time at the end of today's call for open Q&A, just to see if we have any outstanding questions. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, to access Asset Map Priorities, they can only be found within individual households. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go ahead and navigate to a household. And once it loads, I will go ahead and open that up. Okay. So when you click into a household that already exists, many of you might have this be your defaulted page, which this is the household summary page. All the tiles that you see here are clickable. You click into the title of the tile, it takes you into that respective section. Many of you likely know that. You also have your full menu over on the left-hand side. In our menu on the left, you'll notice a new section, the fifth one down, titled Priorities. It has a new option there just to kind of have it stand out for you. That's where we're going to navigate today. Now, when you first come into priorities, the defaulted tab is to start you here in the important section, which of course you can work here. You also can start in the identify area if you want to. It really doesn't matter which one of these you start in, but the idea is that you want to identify the priorities that are important to your clients, maybe based off the things that you've already talked to them about. Maybe you're going to do this interactively in an upcoming meeting or in your next annual review. But if you're working with clients that you've been working with for a while, you might already know some of the things that are important to them. For example, for this household, I know that they're saving for college for their son. I know that caring for a parent is a priority for them. I know that trying to minimize their taxes is a priority for them. I know that establishing a will and a trust is something that they need to do, that needs to be a priority. Notice the language that I'm using. Sometimes the priorities might be things that you notice that they need to do and make a priority, or it could be things that they have actively shared with you. And again, you can use this interactively in front of them if you'd like. Now, you'll notice down below, this is an expansive list of priorities that you can pick and choose from. Okay. Now, this is the priorities library. That's what this toggle is here. So notice if I toggle it off, that library goes away. You can keep the library off if you prefer this view, and you can simply just click add and you can select from the list of priorities through this drop down. This is also a smart search feature, so you can start typing in something like start typing investment, investment strategies, great. And then you can give this a title and you can say, make better investment choices, whatever the case is. Okay. You can add it in there. And then from this view, you can also assign importance from here, or you can leave it unassigned, which when you choose from the priority library, okay, so if you pick something like this, it gets added in. If you were to click into it, the importance for anything that you just add from the library will always be listed as unassigned. We'll get to that in just a moment. Now, you also have a little search bar here. So if you choose to keep the library turned on, you can use the little search bar here. We also have some little, if you want to see priorities that are specific to like retirement planning, we've kind of created like some shortcuts here to do our best to try to like help you be able to scroll through that list. You can also use the search bar. Other is a catch-all. So if you ever wanted to create like a custom priority that, you don't see one present that you need, you just use the other to get that added in. But the idea is that we identify those priorities, the things that are of importance to them, of importance to us, that we need them to take into consideration because it's important. Then we can come into the importance tab. This is where we can assign importance. Is this of high priority? Is this a normal priority? Do we know where all these priorities fall? Now, the nice thing about this section is that you have to hover your mouse over the little two gray lines in these boxes, but that allows you to drag them over. So if caring for a parent I know is a high priority for them, I'm going to notate that. Getting a will and trust in order, that's a pretty high priority because listen, things can happen. Making sure they have enough insurance coverage. Again, unexpected things can happen all the time. Minimizing taxes, maybe that's a normal priority. Maybe making better investment choices, that's a normal priority. Saving for college, maybe that's a high priority since their son is approaching college. You can also drag these up and down within the importance sections to be able to order them appropriately. Okay, a great question came into the chat. Will clients be able to go into their asset map and select any of these priorities? As of today, priorities do not flow through to the client portal. So that functionality does not exist today. That is something that internally we have brought up to our product team though, as something to think about in terms of an enhancement in the future is potentially making priorities available through clients portals so that they can collaborate and either at least see them or potentially be able to edit and adjust them and things like that. But as of right now, that does not exist. Many of you are chatting in and notating that that would be wonderful if it did take place, and I will make sure to notate that, the individuals that have chatted in, and I will make sure to share that with our product team. So remember that we always go to bat for you in terms of your feedback and your suggestions to help make our platform better than ever before. We cannot always promise that things are going to get done, but this is one that even internally I know that I've brought up before, so I know that this will be something that we do our best to look into to see if we can accommodate. Okay, so more to come on that in the future. As of today, priorities are not integrated into the CRMs. So yeah, unfortunately, that does not exist as of today. Another good piece of feedback I can take back for the team. Now, once you've been able to notate the importance, okay, this is where, again, you can turn the library off, which removes those bottom pieces. You can turn the library on. In my mind, if I was going to be doing this live in front of a client, if I've already captured what their priorities are and we've already kind of notated the importance, I would probably just pull this up on the screen in this view with the library turned off, just so that we can isolate and have a conversation. And I might ask, like, is there any new priorities that have come up to play? And if they say, in fact, yes, there are a few, you could turn the library on right there. Just use the little search bar and you could search for a priority that you're looking for. So this is where I could come in and I could say, saving for a major money purchase because they want to buy a rental property, right? I can click into this titling and I can even add to it if I want to. So I can add, I picked the general priority that I want, but I can add more details behind it. Another thing to mention is within every single priority, there is a note section. So just like the note sections that can be found in financial tiles, members, entities, it's a free text field. So if you want to log some notes about some of the priorities, or maybe the notes is going to be where you list what action items need to be done, maybe the action items that you're going to do and the things that they're going to do, you can add those notes in here. Now, I'm just going to do a quick test so that you can see what it looks like. As a reminder, I always recommend putting the date anytime you leave a note anywhere because we do not date it for you. So if it's important for you to be able to look back to see when you logged a note, you want to keep that in mind. Okay, wanting to buy rental property on Swan Lake. Down payment would be 250. I don't know. I'm going to call it 250K. Okay. I'm just going to write something in there. Now, once you've done that, you can go ahead and click update. Okay. Then we can drag this over importance. Maybe we leave it over as unassigned. It's up to you. Okay. Now, if you're wondering where those notes flow through to, they flow through to the same section that all other notes on the asset map flow through to as well. This note section here. Okay. The notes area allows you to see any notes that you've added for members, entities, financials, and look, there's a new section for priorities. So this is a quick place for you to see that. These priority notes also flow through into the report section onto a report called none other than notes. Okay, so if you add notes for priorities, just like notes for financial instruments, members, and entities, those notes will flow through to the interactive notes report that you can choose to include or disclude. Now, while we're here on the report section, you might notice that there is a priorities report. Okay, there is a priorities report. And if you're wondering, well, what is the report going to look like? It's actually going to be this view on the upper right. Everybody see where it says visual and list? Visual is this, so the ability to kind of have this visual interactive look and feel. List is another way to be able to view all of those priorities. What's nice about the listed view is it lists them all out and then it ranks them in terms of importance. The other cool thing is that as we start to achieve and accomplish some of these priorities, like let's say, for example, that the will and trust piece, right? I referred them to Will and Trust, really great company. They went there, they got their will and trust, their legal documents all set up. So this has been resolved. I can come in here and I can click the pencil icon to edit this and I can notate that this has been resolved. I can check resolved. I can come into the note section. I could even put the date. I could put today's date and we can say, will and trust established. Okay, I put like 10/11, let's say, and then I can go ahead and click update. Well, that moves that priority down below underneath resolved, which is really nice because then, when it comes time for annual reviews, we can always take a look at their priorities. We can also notate and always have kind of a log of the things that we've resolved and or accomplished with one another. Also, from the listed view, you can add a priority this way. I think it's important that you just be aware that in terms of the priorities report and in terms of the physical printout itself, it's going to be this listed view. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind there. Now, all of this to say, there's so many different ways that we're seeing people leverage priorities. I actually heard an advisor the other day that he's like, I really like to use this kind of as my action items for meetings even. Because again, I mean, you can create your own custom priorities, right? So if we want to kind of structure this in a way that we want to use this as like an action items list or a way to, specifically talk about what's important to them. The possibilities are endless is all I'm getting at. So definitely want to make sure that you check out this section. It's an incredible way to notate what is important to the clients, what's important to your relationship. And then obviously the goal is that we want to accomplish these things, right? So we want to take the time to do what's needed, to look into the areas that they need us to look into, for us to show the proof of the things that they need to get done. And then together we're going to collaborate and work to get those things done. Now, another thing to consider, and I've teed this up already in a separate tab. If you all are familiar with our Discovery Fact Finder, as you know, Discovery is designed as a way to get a new household added into Asset Map. This is done through a link to a blank digital fact finder. The questions are preset and are the same, right? The idea is that you send this to a lead or a prospect, you send them the link, they fill out the questions, they click all done, it adds the new household into Asset Map. Now, when they start going through this Discovery Fact Finder, first we ask, tell us about you, tell us about the important people in your life. I'm not going to fill everything out here. I'm just kind of walking you through briefly. Okay. Next is, let's get an idea of their financial picture. This is where they can notate the types of accounts that they have. Okay. And then they can click continue. The next section is, okay, it says you have these types of accounts. Now go into each and tell me what you have. I'm not going to do that today. So we're going to click continue. Okay. The next section is going to be, well, what's on your mind? These could be goals, these could be concerns. Ultimately, these are priorities. So we have synced this section of the Discovery Fact Finder to speak to the priorities section in Asset Map. So if you onboard a new client or a lead or a prospect using Discovery, and they come in here and they notate what's important to them, okay, and they click continue, and they go to the end of Discovery and they click all done, okay, then if I go into Asset Map, I can look up that household. I can come in here and I can look for that household. That gentleman's name was Gary Nelson. I can search for his name. I might have to refresh 1 second. Now, probably a good thing to just show this for the group in case you haven't played with Discovery yet. My hope is that you have, but if you haven't, when you onboard someone through Discovery, the last page that they get is a digital confetti congratulations page. Once they get to that page, there's nothing left for them to do. We don't send them anything. They can't retract what they've shared with you. They can't change their answers. Nothing. They're done. Okay. So the goal is that you can then, you'll get notified via email that the lead has come in. So what I like to do is I tend to shortcut into Discovery through the shortcut key in the middle bottom of the screen here. When you click into Discovery there, it'll take you in and you can look for that person's name in this list. You can see Gary Nelson, it's 100% complete, therefore the household has been built. Now, if I go to this household and I go right to Gary's Asset Map, it'll show me everything that he entered and selected. And over on the left, I'll see the priorities that he selected. So remember, he notated retirement planning, providing a legacy, and contributing to charity. I onboarded him using the Discovery Fact Finder. In that section, those were the things he selected. It automatically put them into priorities. So if you are onboarding new clients, leads, prospects using Discovery, it is possible that there will be some pre-populated priorities if they filled that section out, which most people don't skip over that. You know, it's just click the things that are on your mind that you're thinking about, and those typically are going to be priorities for them. Now, as far as like where they fall in terms of importance, okay, well, there you go. That's why we start you on this page. When you meet with this person, you can have that conversation. You know, retirement planning might be of normal importance, or maybe that's of high importance because they're approaching retirement, and providing a legacy, you know, if possible, they want to do that, but more importantly, contributing to charity is what's bigger for them. And remember, you can drag and drop these within these different sections. If there's multiple, just hover your mouse over the gray lines, because if you try to do it this way, you'll notice that it just opens up the module. Now, there was a great question that came into the chat. Can you cancel or remove a priority? Yes, you can. Let's say that, I don't know, let's say he accidentally clicked caring for a parent when he came through Discovery, and he was like, I'm, you know, unfortunately my parents have passed away. I'm not actually caring for a parent. Well, we'd want to remove this. All you have to do is click into the priority, and you can click the trash can button here, and it will remove that priority altogether. And if you come here into the listed format, Okay, if there were any that were resolved, so look, let's say that retirement planning, let's say that we resolve that. Let's say that, a year goes by and he's fully retired and things are trending in a good direction. Even with a priority that's resolved, you can delete it as well. So if and when it became appropriate, you can do that. Great question in the chat. Am I correct that priorities cannot be date sensitive? That's interesting. In terms of importance, there's no way to like put like in the importance section, there's no way to notate um, based on date, but in theory, hear me out, you could click into the instruments and then in the notes section, you could notate like when you want that to be completed by, or you could put like in the reference name, you could notate it and we could try to say, priority complete estimate. I don't know. You could come up with your own abbreviation and then we could put, we want that completed by 12/31/25. So like before the end of the year. And I could click update and there you go. You can add dates in it. I mean, it's not perfect, but if it's important to you to be able to notate a date or wanting to log when something's completed, again, even with something that's resolved, you can click the edit option and you can add a note here, or you could come to the physical notes section and you can add the date and time and everything when that was resolved. Yeah, somebody chatted in, I wish it had due dates. That's great feedback, and I'm more than happy to take that back, and I will take that back. In fact, I'm going to write it down really quick so I don't forget. The asks today are, we would love to have due dates or be able to assign due dates to priorities. We also would love for priorities to flow through to the client portal. And ideally, it sounds like you all would like if, let's say many of you have likely heard of our a new feature enhancement to the client portal. We did a webinar on it a couple weeks ago, or I think last month, called Client Suggest. So the ability for, if you give someone access to an asset map client portal, you want them to be able to make edits to their digital asset map. I'm also going to submit to our team that not only do the folks on today's call kind of ideally want priorities to be seen on the client portal, at least bare minimum, but it would be awesome if we provide them suggest capabilities that maybe there's also priorities suggest. So that allows people to kind of add and adjust things. It's a great thing to keep in mind. All right. So that is ultimately priorities. And like I said, if you're wondering what the report printout looks like, it's that listed view. I'm going to go ahead and download one just so that you can see specifically what it looks like. And this might definitely be something that you're going to want to include in your future generations of reports and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and download the PDF. It's going to open up here in just a moment. This is going to be what that report is going to look like. All right, so it's just going to list out the priorities. It'll notate the importance as either being high, normal, or unassigned, and then anything that's been marked resolved, okay? But the notes and things for those will not appear on this particular report. However, if you add notes for priorities, as a reminder, in the notes section, any notes that have been added for any members, entities, financials, priorities, target maps, legal, they all flow through here to this report called the notes report, but you have to choose to include it. Our system default is to not include it, not because it's not a phenomenal report, but because we don't know what you're using the notes section for. Some advisors leverage notes as a way to log like internal notes and things that maybe aren't client facing. So just keep that in mind. Great question. If you're working on a family unit, how do you allocate priorities to either party, such as husband or wife, or is it on the family level? That's a great question, and I haven't even thought about that. So it is at the household level, but in theory, a workaround could be that, you can notate each of their priorities, right? So we could come in here and let's say that a priority, well, this person's single. So let me go back to household that has multiple people. So let me go back to this household here. So in this priority section, okay, maybe this priority of making better investment choices is actually the husband. Okay, this is a priority for him. Because even though they have joint accounts, they have separate accounts, and he wants to try to like branch out and make some better investment decisions. Again, you can click into the priority, and I suppose you could just put the person's initials right? So I could come in here and I could say that this is Neil Jetson, or I could put his name. I could just put like Neil, like this, and it could make better investment choices. You could put the person's name. If you didn't want to put the person's name here, again, you can click into it and you could add it in the notes section if you prefer it to kind of be hidden. But I would imagine in theory, like you could do that. Like if a priority for Neil is that they want to make better investment choices, great, I can save that. But if maybe this is a joint priority for the two of them, right? So then I could come in here and I could put, Neil plus Lauren, or I could leave their names off and anything that doesn't have an individual name, right? Caring for a parent, this is a high priority for Lauren, right? Because it's her mom that's living in their home with them. You could just add their names if you kind of wanted to section it off. That's interesting though. Yeah, I think that's great feedback. I'm going to take that back to the team as well, that it might be nice to assign a priority to a specific member or to the household in its entirety. I can take that feedback and share that with them as well. Assign to members or household. Excellent. Y'all have really come together today with some really great feedback. I sincerely appreciate that. Now, before we wrap up today, I do have a quick question for you. If you love Asset Map and you are, let me see, let me pull up my poll. Where'd my polls go? Where'd you go, polls? There they go. My question for you is the following. I've put a poll up on the screen. If you love Asset Map or rather, if you love Asset Map, would you be willing to leave us an honest review? One of the best things we can do for our community of people that are looking for technology to really elevate their tech stack and serve their clients in the best, honest way possible is to share feedback about the technologies that we're using. For those of you that are not familiar, G2 is a very reputable site where you can go to learn about other technologies and see honest reviews from users about it. So if you love Asset Map, I would love to hear from you. I'm posting the link into the chat. If you wanted to take a minute and leave us a review, it would mean a lot. If not, you can love us and not want to leave us a review. That is perfectly fine too. Either way, I appreciate you. So I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. Thank you to so many of you that have said yes. Wow. Thank you for that. So I went ahead and I posted the link there. Okay. Yes, some of you, I see the names in the chat. Some of you have been kind enough to leave us reviews in the past. You do not have to leave us another one. But thank you very much. I appreciate you. Other than that, that is all I have for us today. So thank you so much for your time. Be on the lookout for our next month's Accelerate Series webinar. If everything goes according to plan, I plan to make our next webinar next month really focused around integrations with a heavy emphasis on our newest integration that we're very excited to hopefully release at the beginning of next month, which is our eMoney integration, which is I just saw it. It's beautiful. I'm very excited about it. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Other than that, that's really all I have for us today. If you are interested in leaving us a review, we'd love to hear from you. Regarding our virtual bootcamp is actually next week. It's next Tuesday to Thursday, so I know that's a little short notice for some of you. If you want to sign up for bootcamp, please do so, especially if you're on the elite level subscription. It comes included in your subscription. If you're not familiar with bootcamp is an incredibly immersive training. It's 3 days, 5 hours each day. That being said, I promise we make it fun. I mean, everybody that comes to boot camp for the most part, I've only had like 1 or 2 people that just said, oh, it's kind of long, But other than that, we make it fun. It's a ton of valuable material. I lead and facilitate boot camp alongside my colleague, John Burney, who is our customer onboarding advisor. And then also our CEO and founder, Adam Holt, takes part along with some folks on our product team. It's just going to be an incredible event. So if you'd like to join us, please feel free. And if you have questions regarding your access or the level that you're on, please make sure that you chat into the support team. Again, in terms of whenever you need help and support, don't forget that we are here and we are available to you. Let me just show you really quick. We're an app. You can go to that just so that you can chat in any questions that you may have. So when you're in app, you can use the chat bubble on the upper right. That is static. That is always there. That opens up the support options. Most of the time, you'll have a floating help button on the bottom right as well. This is where you can live chat our team. You can email our team. Okay. If you're not on our elite level subscription, that means that you're on the professional level. We can work out getting you some kind of a discount too if you want to come to boot camp. So just make sure that you reach out to the team and we'll be happy to talk to you about that. Where I'll end with us today is simply to ask if you wouldn't mind taking a second to share what you thought about today's webinar. This is more for like internal feedback for myself, but if you don't mind taking a second, feel free to go ahead and click this link and you can take a look there. Oh gosh, it mirrored my boot camp link. I'm sorry about that. So where it says survey.certificate in the chat, that's going to be the survey for you to give me some quick feedback on what you thought of today's webinar covering priorities. Those of you that want to learn more about bootcamp, this is the website. All you have to do is click on that. You can go to bootcamp and you can register. If you're on our elite level subscription, you need to get the coupon code so that you can bypass payment. I cannot share that on today's call just because there's likely a mix of licenses and I can't have people using that code if they're not on the elite level subscription. So you can reach out to the support team and they'll verify your access and we can go from there. Other than that, that's all I have for us today. Let me just make sure that there's no outstanding questions. Oh, thank you so much for the positive feedback. Yes, Adam did create a wonderful product. He's also just a visionary and a wonderful person to boot. So I'm very lucky to be able to work for such an incredible human being. And in general, the people that we have surrounding us here at AssetMap, every department, every team, just a beautiful group of people who really want you all to succeed. We believe in our product. We want to make it better. We continue to make it better. And all of that comes from people like you who share your feedback. So thank you for that. Let's see, if you have a client or prospect already in AssetMap or has already done discovery, could you build out a custom questionnaire that mirrors priorities? Great question. I mean, in theory, you could, if you're on the elite level subscription, you could create a custom questionnaire that mirrors priorities, right? But remember, with questionnaires, when those get completed, it would just be a report snapshot in terms of the results. So it wouldn't like auto-populate what they fill out in your questionnaire that mirrors priorities. It wouldn't auto-populate those priorities into the priorities section like our Discovery Fact Finder does. That I don't think would be possible because that would be require quite a bit of development work. But you know, with questionnaires, the benefit of them is that you get the results on a report and you can pull up the report and then you can very quickly just notate those things in their priority section and then it's logged permanently moving forward. So hopefully that answers your question there. Can you quickly again review how to customize the suggestion permission / combining more than one? I don't know if I fully understand your question. So if you want to expand on that a little bit more, feel free to use the chat. But in terms of if you're wanting to learn how to customize these priorities, all you have to do is once you select a priority, you can click on the priority. That allows you to change the name. It allows you to change the importance. It can allow you to mark if it's resolved. It also gives you access to that note section. And then in terms of ranking them, you can drag and drop them using these little 2 gray lines. You have to hover your mouse, click on it, and then you can drag and drop, and you can move them from like important sections over to the other, and then you can reorder them within the sections themselves too. So hopefully that will be great. Yes, bootcamp is always recorded and we do make the replays available for 30 days post-event. Although I'm going to be honest, I usually extend them and make them available a little bit longer because I just end up falling in love with everybody after 3 days and with holidays and things coming up. But yes, bootcamp is recorded. So if you register for bootcamp and you can't make it because you're going to be out of town, it's at least worth registering, especially if you're elite since it's included in your subscription. All right, I think I answered. Yes, I will make sure to take the feedback back to have priorities integrate with CRMs. As you notated, you said this is kind of a dual effort for some advisors. Sure, I totally understand that. So I will take that feedback and I will share that with the product team as well. Oh, it says unavailable. No, we don't want that. Okay, hold on. Let me grab you a new link. How about this one for my survey? Does that one work better? I just reposted it in the chat. Yeah, I can see what happened. My Cervikit and my boot camp links they got meshed together. I don't know what Zoom's issue today is. Anyway, if you'd like to share with me what you thought of today's training, I just posted the correct link. It's a quick survey. I think it's 2 questions. It would mean a lot. Other than that, that is all I have for us today. So thank you so much for your time and your attention. As always, I appreciate you. If you have any outstanding questions or want to provide any more feedback, please use the support channels to do so. Live chat, email. Again, all you got to do is click this floating help button. You can live chat in some feedback. You can email some feedback, and we'll be doing that. All right. Listen, as we approach the end of the year, I think it's important for all of us to remember that this has been a busy year. We're already in the middle of October. Can you believe it? And we're not slowing down, and we care about you, and we want you to have a phenomenal finish to the year. So if there's anything that we can do to help and support you, or you need additional training, or you want to do some case reviews, reach out to the support team. Let us know. Let us help you, because listen, we're going to full steam ahead into 2026. I mean, we're working on some incredible things. I'm really excited for what's to come, and I hope you are too. And thank you so much for your time and your partnership and your investment into our platform. We love you, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, everybody. Have an excellent rest of your day and a safe weekend if I don't talk to you before then. Bye-bye.